She said it didn't mean anything. That's exactly why it did. Most men hear the words. Few understand what's really being said. No one teaches you how to read a woman's signals. You're trained to listen, to be respectful, to play it safe. But in the real world, especially in private, high-stakes interactions, language is just camouflage. What she says isn't always what she means. What seems casual might be her clearest invitation. And if you can't decode it, you'll either get played or passed over. That's the hard truth. How many times have you replayed a short sentence she dropped, wondering what she really meant, wondered if you should have made a move, said something, closed the gap while the window was open? Most men either miss the moment or misread it completely, and both lead to regret. That's what this channel exists to prevent. This is Victory Stoic. Here we don't chase, we observe, we understand. We take action when the moment is right, not when we're told. We don't ask for permission, we don't look for signs of approval. We read between the lines and move with precision. That's power. That's freedom. That's what Stoic thinking gives you in the modern game. Because the truth is, a woman will rarely say what she wants directly. Not because she's hiding it, but because she's testing if you can see it without being told. The clues are there, in her choice of words, in how she says it, in when she says it. Most men ignore these cues and fall into one of two traps. They either become the harmless friend or the overeager fool. Neither wins, neither leads. The following signals are subtle, often wrapped in humor or hesitation. But once you understand what they reveal, you'll never second-guess a moment again. You'll start to notice when she's building tension, when she's opening the door, when she's waiting for you to step up. And more importantly, you'll know how to stay in control. Because a woman's attraction is not about being perfect. It's about being present, composed, grounded. And that's what Stoicism trains you for. Control of the self, clarity in chaos, confidence without arrogance. Now, if this message hits you where it matters, if you've been that guy who missed the signal or moved too slow or overplayed your hand, this is your moment to evolve. Subscribe to Victory Stoic. Like this video if you value precision over guessing. Share it with someone who needs to stop being confused and start being clear. And in the comments, I want you to drop your power phrase, "I see what others miss," or share your own experience, the sentence she said that left you guessing. This isn't about pickup. This isn't about tricks. This is about perception, presence, and power. If you can sharpen those three things, you don't just attract her attention, you command it. Let's get into it. Number 1, I don't know why, but I just feel so comfortable talking to you. There's a quiet tragedy hidden inside that sentence. And if you're not sharp enough to hear it, you'll miss the moment. And everything it could have become. Because that phrase isn't just about comfort. It's about her guard dropping. Her inner defenses softening. And whether you realize it or not, she's handing you something fragile, not an invitation, a risk, a test. When a woman says this, she's not just chatting. She's exposing the tension she usually carries with every man she doesn't trust. The masks she wears, the caution she's learned from years of being misunderstood, used, disappointed. In her world, vulnerability costs. So if she says she feels at ease around you, that means something deeper has already started. Not love, not lust, something more dangerous, emotional surrender. But here's where most men fail. The second they hear this sentence, they light up. They take it as a green light, as if comfort equals consent. They rush in, they flirt harder, they make a move, they push, and in doing so, they ruin it, because they weren't listening, they were reacting. In Meditations, Marcus Aurelius writes, "You always own the option of having no opinion." He's not telling you to be indifferent, he's telling you to control your response, to stop letting your first instinct define your actions. That is the Stoic way, to observe before acting, to wait before deciding, to hold your frame when emotions pull. When she says, "I feel comfortable," you don't move closer. You don't escalate. You pause. You watch. Because comfort is not attraction. Not yet. It's a doorway. And how you behave in the silence after that sentence determines whether she walks through or shuts it. Let me give you a story. Evan, 42, divorced, 2 kids, works in insurance in Fort Worth, Texas. He's been out of the game for over a decade. Starts talking to a woman he meets at a friend's birthday. Smart, kind, grounded. A week later, they grab coffee. She leans in, smiles, and says, "I don't know why, but I feel so safe talking to you." Evan thinks, this is it. He reaches for her hand. Her smile fades. The connection freezes. 2 days later, she ghosts him. Why? Because she wasn't ready. She needed space to breathe, not a move to react to. She was offering a moment of closeness, not asking for more. Evan was chasing warmth with fire, and it burned too fast. What he should have done was stay still, let the silence deepen, meet her openness with calm. A nod. A steady gaze. A shift in topic, not tone. Because in that comfort, she wasn't asking for action, she was checking for safety. And nothing scares a woman faster than a man who takes too much, too soon. Psychologist Dr. Judith Orloff, author of the Empath Survival Guide, explains, when someone feels safe to open up, they're often more emotionally exposed than they realize. Moving too fast can feel like a violation. Neurologically, oxytocin, the bonding hormone, is released in moments of emotional connection. But the presence of adrenaline or overexcitement can shut it down. That means, if your energy spikes too high, her brain will signal threat, not trust. So what do? You do what Epictetus said, don't explain your philosophy, embody it. You become the calm. You lean back, not forward. You ask a question that shows you listened. You change the subject slightly to something real, something grounded. You prove you're not here to take advantage of her comfort. You're here to protect it. Let me give you something practical you can do at home. Practice emotional stillness. Next time someone opens up to you, friend, family, anyone, try this. Listen fully, respond slowly, and don't give advice unless they ask. Let them sit in their own feelings without trying to fix them. It'll feel uncomfortable at first. You'll want to react, but if you can master stillness in low-stakes moments, you'll have it when it counts. Most men are addicted to feedback. They want signs, cues, affirmations. Stoic men don't chase proof. They stay rooted. Because the moment you start needing confirmation, you've already lost frame. You've already put her in charge of your emotional direction, and you will always be dancing to her rhythm instead of your own. So when you hear, "I just feel comfortable with you," let it land. Let it echo. Don't rush to fill the silence that follows. Because that silence is where she's watching. That's where she decides if she's safe, or if you're just another man waiting to strike. Comfort is not consent, it's currency. Spend it wisely, or don't spend it at all. And if that truth hits hard, good, it should. This isn't a game for boys chasing signals. It's a call to men who know the value of silence, presence, and restraint. This is what separates you, and this is how you win. Number 2, so what are you doing this weekend? At first glance, it seems innocent, a light question. Casual. But this line isn't just conversation. It's reconnaissance. It's a soft probe for presence, for position, for power. She's not asking what's on your schedule. She's asking where she fits into it. And more importantly, how easily you'll bend. Every man has heard this question, but very few understand the weight behind it. The way it tilts the power dynamic if you're not careful. The moment she asks, most guys rush to respond with something like, "Nothing really, what's up?" Or worse, "I was thinking we could hang out." They treat it like a green light. They jump, they give, they offer. And just like that, they drop frame. Because the moment you lay your weekend bare, the mystery dies. The chase flattens. You've revealed your availability before she earned it. You became predictable. She asked a soft question, and you gave a loud answer. What should have been a chance to hold your position became an eager surrender. Imagine it like a chessboard. She moves a pawn 2 spaces forward. She's not attacking, she's feeling the board. Your next move tells her everything. If you lunge with your queen, bold, desperate, you've overplayed. But if you shift your knight out, calmly, without rushing, now you've got her attention. That's how you answer this question. Here's a better response. That depends. What kind of weekend are you thinking about? Or even better, I've got a few things lined up. Why do you ask? Subtle, controlled. You're not rejecting her. You're inviting her to show her hand first. The ancient Stoic philosopher Hierocles once said, "It is not what happens that disturbs men, but their judgment about it." That's the key here. Her question doesn't have power. Your interpretation does. The insecure man sees it as an invitation to leap. The grounded man sees it as information, a signal, and he responds with clarity, not eagerness. Take Luke, 39, real estate agent in Arizona. Divorced 5 years, back in the dating world with some scars. He meets someone, smart, ambitious, beautiful. 2 dates in, she texts, "What are you doing this weekend?" Luke, feeling good, replies instantly, "Nothing planned yet. Want to get dinner?" She says she'll get back to him. She doesn't. 3 days of silence. What went wrong? Luke answered a question she wasn't really asking. She didn't want dinner. She wanted to see if he'd center his world around her at the first hint. He did. And just like that, her curiosity died. Her attraction dipped, not because he was nice, but because he was too easy to predict. Now imagine a different version, same question. But Luke replies, "Depends. I've got some things I'm working on. What's up?" Now she has to offer something. Now she has to lead. Now she has to invest. That's how attraction builds, not through giving, but through tension. There's a deeper layer here too. This question is a test of your time. Not just your schedule, but how you value it. Time is the currency of self-respect. When you throw it around freely, people sense that you're not guarding it. But when you control it, when you allocate it intentionally, you communicate worth without saying a word. The Stoics were ruthless about time. Seneca wrote, "People are frugal in guarding their personal property, but as soon as it comes to squandering time, they are most wasteful." If you give away your time too easily, you're telling the world your life is wide open, and nothing important is happening. So how do you hold frame in a situation like this? How do you make sure your response creates attraction, not appeasement? Here's your tip, simple and effective. Pre-script your responses. Write down 3 to 5 calm, measured replies to these types of social questions. Practice them. Say them out loud. The goal isn't to sound rehearsed, it's to stop sounding reactive. A calm man isn't surprised, he's prepared, and preparation breeds power. Another tip, build real weekends. Don't fake a busy schedule. Actually build one. Fill your life with purpose, training, reading, building, exploring. So when she asks what you're doing, it's not a bluff. You're doing something with or without her. That presence, that purpose, it's magnetic. A man who needs her to complete his weekend is one she forgets by Monday. A man who's already in motion, who's already moving, that's the one she wants to catch up to. Let's bring it to metaphor. Think of your weekend like a locked room. When she asks, "What are you doing?" she's knocking. Not to be let in right away. She wants to hear how you answer. She wants to know what kind of man answers the door. Is he standing there, waiting, eager? Or is he somewhere deep inside, occupied, steady, composed, calling back? Depends. Who's asking? That's the difference between a man who leads and a man who follows. So next time you hear that line, "What are you doing this weekend?" Stop. Breathe. Don't see it as a prize. See it as a chance. A moment to show that you're not just available. You're valuable. And value doesn't offer itself up too quickly. Value waits, watches, and chooses when to open the door. Number 3. I'm not usually like this with anyone. That sentence isn't casual. It's confession wrapped in denial. It's an emotional leak she's trying to plug with justifications. On the surface, it sounds harmless, maybe even sweet. But underneath, it reveals something rare. She's crossing her own line, and she knows it. That's why she has to say it out loud. When a woman tells you she's not usually like this, what she's really saying is, something about you is pulling me out of my own control, and I don't know how to process it. It's a subtle form of disorientation. She's feeling something she didn't expect. Maybe more vulnerability than she planned, maybe more attraction, maybe a version of herself that feels exposed, and she's trying to contain it with words. But here's the trap most men fall into. They rush to comfort her. They say things like, "I feel the same," or worse, "I'm glad you trust me." They try to meet her emotion instead of holding space for it. And in doing so, they collapse the tension. They rush what should be still. They narrate what should be felt. This moment isn't asking for a response, it's asking for steadiness. You don't need to say anything when she offers that line. You don't need to verify, validate, or reassure. Your presence is the response. Your calm is the container. That's what she's really looking for. Not a man who reacts, but a man who can handle who she is when her armor slips. Seneca once wrote, "No man is more unhappy than he who never faces adversity, for he is not permitted to prove himself." Think of this line, "I'm not usually like this," as a moment of micro-adversity. Not for her, for you. A test. Can you remain composed while someone emotionally trembles in front of you? Can you resist the need to fix, prove, or please? Let's bring it into the real world. Marcus, 45, runs a construction firm in Ohio. Practical guy, not much for drama. Starts seeing a woman 10 years younger, independent, guarded, sharp. One night after a few drinks and long conversation, she tells him, "I'm not usually like this with guys. I don't know what it is with you." Marcus, feeling the weight of the moment, leans in and says, "I feel the same. This feels different." Sounds nice, romantic. But the next day, she's distant, cold. Something shifted. What happened? Marcus matched her emotion too soon. Instead of letting her sit in her own feeling, he grabbed it, claimed it, made it mutual. And by doing so, he took away her experience. He rushed to define what was still forming. He robbed the moment of mystery. What should he have done? Nothing. A pause, a gentle nod, a quiet glance that says, "I see you." That would have given her space, allowed her words to breathe. She wasn't looking for symmetry. She was testing emotional safety. Psychologically, this kind of verbal hedging is called disclaimer behavior. It's common in moments of vulnerability. According to Dr. Deborah Tannen, a linguist specializing in gender communication, women often use disclaimers to cushion the risk of emotional exposure. When a man rushes to affirm or react, it increases pressure rather than relieving it. Silence, on the other hand, lowers the stakes. It says, "You're safe here. I'm not here to take anything from you." So here's your practical tip. Practice emotional neutrality. Start with small interactions. Someone shares something vulnerable or embarrassing. Instead of jumping in with reassurance, just sit with it. Hold eye contact. Be present. The more you train this muscle, the more composed you'll be in the heat of real connection. You need to understand this. When she says, "I'm not usually like this," she's not handing you permission. She's handing you responsibility. To not misuse the moment, to not turn it into a checkpoint or escalation point, to let her be messy, uncertain, exposed, without needing to label it or turn it into something official. Metaphor time. Think of this like someone placing a crystal glass on your table. It's not a gift. It's not yours to take. It's delicate. It's expensive. She's watching what you will do. Will you grab it? Will you fill it? Or will you simply let it sit there, unbroken, untouched, respected? The Stoic doesn't lunge. He doesn't soothe. He witnesses. He lets life unfold without trying to bend it to his will. And in doing so, he earns something far rarer than approval. He earns trust. So next time you hear it, "I'm not usually like this," don't lean in. Don't match. Don't interpret. Just hold the moment. Let it stretch. Let her feel it fully without interference. That silence you offer, that presence, it says more than any clever reply ever could. Number 4, do you have a girlfriend? It sounds innocent, almost too innocent. A casual question tossed in like small talk, like she's just trying to get a sense of your situation. But this isn't curiosity. It's calculated calibration. She's not asking if you're taken. She's asking how you carry yourself, with abundance or availability. This is one of the most deceptively dangerous lines in the entire dynamic between men and women. Because how you answer this question doesn't just inform her, it defines you. Not your relationship status, but your energy, your confidence, your frame. And most men get it wrong. They either overshare, "No, I've been single for a while, just focusing on myself," or they try to qualify, "No, I'm totally free, just waiting for the right person." Both answers bleed desperation. Both say, "Please like me, I'm open, I'm hoping." And both instantly destroy the subtle tension she was feeling before she asked. Why? Because this question isn't logistical, it's emotional. It's a test. Not of honesty, but of how much of yourself you feel the need to explain. Here's what the Stoics would say. He who needs to prove himself has already failed. That principle runs deep. When you rush to clarify your status, you're trying to secure approval, validation, reassurance. And the man who needs to secure those things? He's already given them up. Antisthenes, a predecessor to the Stoics, once said, "The most necessary learning is to unlearn wrong habits." The habit of over-explaining is one of them. When you respond to a question like, "Do you have a girlfriend?" with a detailed, enthusiastic no, what you're actually saying is, "I'm available, please pick me." Attraction doesn't work that way. Mystery does. Let's go to a real story. Terrence, 38, software consultant in Denver. Sharp dresser, well-spoken, has been through his share of relationships. He meets a woman at a networking event. The vibe is there, smart banter, soft smiles, long glances. Then she drops it. "Do you have a girlfriend?" Terrence answers with a laugh. Nope. Fully single and definitely open to something. She nods, but the spark dims. They talk a bit more, then drift apart. No text, no follow-up. Terrence did nothing wrong, but he gave away the plot too early. He surrendered the frame. He thought she was asking about logistics, but what she wanted to see was posture. Now imagine a different response. Same situation. She asks, "Do you have a girlfriend?" He gives a small smile, tilts his head slightly, and says, "Why do you ask?" Suddenly the ball is back in her court. Now she's exposed. She has to explain her intent. That's power without aggression. Clarity without confession. This is the tactic. Answer a question with a question, but not defensively. With playfulness, with subtlety, with control. And more importantly, with presence. You don't need to lie, but you don't need to explain either. Psychologists refer to this as implied social framing. The way you respond to a personal question defines the tone of the connection. If your response is eager and transparent, you're now on her terms. If it's composed and ambiguous, you hold your own gravity. She orbits you, not the other way around. Here's your practical tip. Rehearse responses that give less but say more. Practice this in everyday interactions. When someone asks, "Are you seeing anyone?" Try, "I meet people I like, but I'm not in a rush. I value my space. It takes someone rare to share it." That depends on what you mean by girlfriend. Each of these responses leaves room for tension, room for her to lean in, room for her to wonder. Because in the end, what you leave unsaid is often more powerful than what you say. She doesn't want a resume. She wants to feel something unspoken. That you're the kind of man who has options but doesn't chase approval. That you're selective, not just single. That you choose. You're not waiting to be chosen. Here's an image to hold on to. Imagine your words are smoke. If they rise too fast, they vanish. But if they curl slowly, they linger. They fill the space. They stay. That's how your answer should feel. Light, slow, leaving her with more questions than certainty. So next time you hear, "Do you have a girlfriend?" Stop trying to win the moment. Make her earn the answer. Let her wonder. Let her feel the edge. And above all, hold your frame. Because the man who gives too much, too fast, he's already been dismissed. The man who reveals nothing, yet says everything with his calm, that's the one she can't stop thinking about. Number 5. Don't look at me like that. There's a tremble buried in that line, half fear, half craving. She says it like a warning, but it's not. It's an invitation dressed up as protest. Because if she truly wanted the moment to end, she wouldn't speak. She'd look away, she'd move on, she'd pretend it didn't happen. But she didn't. She said something. And that means something. When a woman tells you not to look at her a certain way, it means she noticed you noticing her, and it affected her more than she expected. That sentence isn't a boundary, it's a test. She's asking without asking, "Do you really see me? Or was that just a glance?" And now, your next move tells her everything. Most men fail here by doing exactly what they think is polite. They laugh awkwardly, break eye contact, apologize like they've crossed a line, and in doing so, they kill the moment. They signal fear, weakness, hesitation. They act like the look was accidental, when what she needed was a man willing to own the fire behind it. This moment isn't about words, it's about weight. The weight of your gaze, the weight of silence, the weight of whether or not you can stand in the tension without breaking it. Stoicism isn't cold detachment. It's composure under pressure. It's keeping your inner fire steady even when the air between you starts to burn. There's a quote attributed to Cleanthes, one of the early Stoic leaders. "It is not the look that burns, but the meaning behind it." She's reacting to what she felt, not what she saw. Your gaze touched something, desire, fear, longing, and now she's naming it without naming it. That's power. But only if you don't flinch. Picture this. Logan, 41, former Marine, now runs a private gym in San Diego. Tough, quiet, doesn't say more than he has to. One night after closing up, a woman he's been casually seeing stops by. They talk. She's rambling about something, work, family, nothing urgent, and he's just watching her. Still, focused. Then she stops mid-sentence and says it, "Don't look at me like that." But she doesn't move, she doesn't turn away, she holds his stare. Logan doesn't speak, doesn't smile, just keeps the gaze, controlled, curious, grounded. And then she moves closer, because that's what happens when tension is held. She couldn't handle it, but she didn't want it to stop either. That moment wasn't about seduction. It was about energy. And he didn't blink. Now imagine Logan had laughed, said sorry, looked at the floor. That moment, gone. She'd feel unseen, unsafe. He'd go back to being nice, harmless. And in her world, harmless isn't attractive. Harmless is invisible. Psychologically, this moment touches what's known as limbic resonance, a concept in neuroscience that describes how two people emotionally sync through eye contact and energy. When someone sustains eye contact without fear, it activates deep primal circuits of intimacy and challenge. It bypasses logic. It hits the nervous system. It says, I see you and I'm not afraid of you. That's magnetic. So what's the move here? Simple. Don't move. Don't reply. Let her line echo and dissolve. Let her feel it. Then if you must speak, say something minimal. What way? Or better, say nothing. Hold the space. Your eyes should say more than your mouth ever could. Here's your practical tip. Train your gaze. Most men never think about this. They either stare aggressively or avoid it entirely. Practice holding calm, steady eye contact, without smiling, without overthinking. Start in everyday conversations, then in deeper ones. Learn to look without needing, without pleading, just observing. That neutrality, that quiet intensity, that's what makes people feel seen without feeling hunted. Think of your gaze like a lighthouse, not a spotlight. A spotlight seeks, interrogates, invades. A lighthouse just shines. It's constant, it's present. It doesn't chase, it draws in. That's what your eyes should feel like when you look at her. Grounded, immovable, focused, but soft. So next time you hear "don't look at me like that," don't take it as a rejection. Take it as recognition. She's not pushing you away. She's trying to survive the moment you just created. That line is her admitting, I feel too much right now, and I'm not sure I can hold it. Your job is to hold it for both of you. And holding it doesn't mean doing anything. It means doing nothing, with strength. That's the move most men can't make, because it requires presence, it requires power, and it requires silence. Let the silence do your talking. Let your gaze carry your intent. Let her feel the weight of being truly seen. And don't rescue her from it. That's not cruelty. That's leadership. And in that stillness, in that stare, in that held breath between words, that's where everything changes. Number 6. I bet a lot of girls fall for you. This line doesn't come from nowhere. It comes from tension, from curiosity, from an unspoken sense that she's already slightly affected and she's trying to regain control by pretending she's the observer. But don't be fooled. This isn't just a comment. It's a probe wrapped in sarcasm, a soft jab meant to see how deep your frame runs. What she's really saying is, you don't seem like you belong to anyone. Are you the kind of man who belongs to no one? It's part accusation, part flirtation, part self-protection. And it all hinges on how you respond. Most men fall right into the trap. The insecure one tries to disarm it. No, not really. I'm not that type. Weak, defensive. It shows he's worried about how she sees him and he wants to correct it. On the other side, the ego-driven guy puffs his chest. Well, I don't hear any complaints. Or what can I say? It's the curse. Cheesy. Try hard. He just told her, I care more about attention than connection. And both men lose. But a stoic man? He doesn't flinch. He doesn't explain. He doesn't perform. He knows who he is and doesn't need her to know it. That's why he wins. Marcus Aurelius wrote, waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. This moment is exactly that. It's not your job to explain whether or not women want you. It's your job to embody the kind of man who doesn't seek approval from anyone, especially from someone testing you. Think about it this way. She's handing you a rope. One end is flirtation. The other is accusation. If you pull too hard in either direction, it snaps. But if you hold it loosely, with calm tension, she'll feel it. She'll feel that you're not controlled by perception. That you don't need to be seen as a saint or a player. You're just solid. Let's ground this with a story. Jared, 44, owns a barbershop in Atlanta. Confident, well-dressed, never raises his voice. One evening, during a slow burn of conversation with a woman he's been seeing casually, she hits him with it. I bet you've got women lining up for you. He doesn't blink, just leans back, lets the silence breathe for a second, then smiles and says, people line up for things every day. Doesn't mean they're getting in. She laughs, she leans in. The moment deepens. Why? Because he didn't deflect, didn't brag, didn't shrink. He held his frame. He didn't try to convince her of anything. That's exactly what she didn't know she was looking for. From a psychological lens, this line is a projection. She's feeling drawn in, and that triggers an internal alarm. Am I just one of many? It's a form of defensive sarcasm meant to re-establish emotional balance. But when you dodge it or react, you validate the fear. When you stay grounded, you neutralize it. Here's your tip. Respond with presence, not proof. The next time a woman throws this kind of line at you, slow down. Look at her. Let the silence stretch just a bit. Then say something that closes no doors, opens no bragging rights. Something like, "That's a strange thing to worry about right now. You tell me." Or even better, just smile, say nothing, and keep the eye contact. This isn't about outsmarting her. It's about not surrendering the frame. Because once you start defending who you are, you've already handed her control of the narrative. You're no longer leading, you're managing impressions. And leadership never comes from needing to be seen a certain way. Let's use an image here. Think of your reputation like a mountain. People will circle around it, wonder what's at the top, try to climb it. But if you start running down the slope every time someone asks what's up there, the mystery dies. The mountain shrinks. The value disappears. Your power is in the not knowing, in the restraint, not the reveal. Zeno, the founder of Stoicism, said, "The goal is not to be invulnerable, but to not be ruled by vulnerability." That's exactly what this moment is. She's testing whether your identity is strong enough to hold under playful pressure. Not because she wants to destroy it, but because she wants to know it's real, that it's earned, not performed. So when she says, "I bet a lot of girls fall for you," don't fall for the bait. Don't play coy. Don't perform humility or dominance. Just stay still, smile, maybe. Let her wonder. Let her feel the edges of a man who doesn't need to be explained. Because mystery isn't about being secretive. It's about having nothing to prove. And in a world full of noise, the man who says less but means every word is the one she can't stop watching. Conclusion: she wants you, but only if you can handle her silence. She won't say it outright. She'll tease it, test it, twist it into clever little comments, half jokes, soft provocations, double meanings. And if you're not grounded, you'll fall for the words instead of the intention behind them. That's where most men get played. Not because they weren't good enough, but because they reacted too soon, too much, too eagerly. What you've just heard isn't a collection of flirtatious phrases. It's a battlefield map. A quiet war where glances, pauses, and sideways questions carry more weight than confessions. And the man who wins here doesn't fight harder. He stands still while others flinch. He watches while others perform. He leads without saying a word. Here's what you need to remember. When she says, "Don't look at me like that," she wants you to. When she says, "I'm not usually like this," she is. When she asks, "Do you have a girlfriend?" she already knows you don't. She's just checking how easily you give yourself away. And when she says, "I feel safe around you," she's begging to know if you'll ruin that feeling by needing more from it than she's ready to give. This isn't about decoding women. It's about mastering yourself. Your energy, your silence, your presence. Because the most powerful man in the room is never the one who speaks first. It's the one who can sit in tension and make others feel it. And if you've ever been that guy who looked back and thought, "Damn, I moved too fast," or "I gave too much away," then this is your wake-up call. Not to shut down, not to play games, but to hold your ground like a man. Calm, collected, unshakable. If that's the energy you want to build, Victory Stoic is your home. Hit like if this made you see something you'd missed before. Subscribe so you never walk blind into another test again. Share this with a brother who keeps getting played by softness wrapped in smiles. And in the comments, drop the code, "I move only when I choose." Or tell your story. That one sentence that caught you off guard. That one moment that slipped away. Let's make this a place where we learn from the silence, not just the noise. Thank you for listening. And next time she speaks, don't just hear her, see what she's hiding beneath the words.